Okay, I asked you guys to send me some questions for a Q&A video, and you sent me a bunch. Some of them are about my personal life, some about franchises other than Harry Potter, and a bunch of them were about Harry Potter. I know some of you watching this will only care about the Harry Potter ones, so I'm going to do them in order of personal, other franchises, then Harry Potter at the end. But if you want to skip through to anything, there are timestamps in the description, so you can skip through to the questions that interest you. Also, I usually film stood up. This is how I sit comfortably. Sorry about my bare knee. I'm wearing shorts. I'm wearing football shorts. It's warm today, okay? Okay, Lael asks, when are you coming to Japan? I'm hoping this summer. Is summer a good time to go to Japan? Basically, my partner and I are trying to do a big 3 or 4 week trip and see a bunch of places in Asia. Danny lived in Thailand for a while, so she wants to go back and show me some of the places she's been to. And then I've never been to the continent ever, so I want to see Japan and South Korea. I want to see the Philippines. So we're in the early stages of planning that. If any of you have ever been to Asia, let me know some places we should visit down in the comments. Dan asked me to rank all the cheeses in order. This is a really insensitive question to ask somebody who can't digest dairy. So I'm gonna go non-dairy cheese and then all the dairy cheeses underneath. That is my comprehensive and definitive list of cheese rankings. When I am willing to pay the price and eat cheese, Wensleydale with cranberries in it is top notch. Wensleydale, how Wallace and Gromit of me. And I'm a smoked cheese is good too. Mozzarella, brie, camembert as well. I know they're popular ones, but never really did it for me that much. Okay, Morgan, Movie Flame, has asked me when the wedding is. For those of you who don't know, I actually got engaged to my partner recently. We are looking to get married probably in summer of 2027. We're not sure if we're gonna do it in the UK or abroad though. We really love the idea of getting married abroad, but it's so much harder to organize, you know? Anyway, still in the early stages, very excited though. Meats and Cheats asks, what's the coolest yet shamefully geekiest thing that I've done that no one knows? Okay, this isn't one that no one knows, but some people know it, but I've never shared it online. I only ever got 2 detentions when I was in school, and one of them I got because I just kept shouting Expelliarmus in the middle of my English class. But I wasn't just shouting it, I was doing it like Snape. You know the Chamber of Secrets movie in Dueling Club when he goes, Expelliarmus. I said that so many times in my English class. It's the dorkiest reason anyone has ever got a detention. Little glimpse into my teenage life. Okay, Caleb Bowman asked me Plymouth Argyle or Harry Potter. Look, I like Harry Potter. I do. I really do. But Plymouth Argyle will always be my first love. I'm picking the Mighty Greens. And if you don't watch football and you don't have a football team that you support, please honorarily follow Plymouth Argyle. Lord knows we need all the support we can get. Okay, Jack Haylock asks, what do you do for work outside of YouTube? So I am lucky enough that making content is my full-time job. Not just YouTube, but TikTok, Instagram, things like that. And the only reason I can do that is because you guys support me, you watch these videos, and I'm so grateful for that, so thank you. If you want to support me more, I'm trying to make a little bit more money each month so I can pay an editor and make more of these videos. And if that's something you're interested in doing, I just relaunched my Patreon. It is pay what you can, so whether you pay in the top tier or the lowest tier, you will still get access to everything over there. But there will be polls where you can vote on the videos that I make. I'm having a really fun time putting together crosswords and word searches. So if you want to see a bit more from me, if you want more of an active input for the kind of videos that I make here, and if you want to help support me and this channel, please do check out the Patreon, linked in the description. Okay, this user asks, what subject would you want to make videos for the channel but haven't yet? So even though this channel is 75-80% Harry Potter, I do still experiment with other franchises and TV shows and movies and books and things like that. I've made videos about the Hunger Games, about Doctor Who, about Lost and The Walking Dead. You might be able to see it's actually out of frame. Hold on, we've got a standing desk, we can put it up. Just coming into frame now, just here, you will see the Shadowhunter books. And they're in here as well, City of Bones and The Clockwork Princess and things like that. There's also the Dune books here. And I just finished reading the Reckoners trilogy from Brandon Sanderson. I'm also a huge fan of Final Fantasy and the Scythe series and The Last of Us. There are so many books and movies and TV shows and video games that I love that haven't made a video about. I'm going to continue to experiment with a bunch of those things. If there are other things, other franchises that you like and you'd like to see me making videos about them, again, head over to the Patreon. I'll be putting polls up for things I can make content about. I would love your input. Okay, hi VJ2UZ says, do you think Plymouth Argyle will get promoted back to the championship next season? Yes, I do. You gotta have faith in the Mighty Greens, you know. Also, if I spend every other Saturday for 9 months going to watch these games, I want to have faith we're gonna win them. Okay, JX Galaxy asks, is there any more IP more important to you than Harry Potter? And if there isn't, what do you think is in second place? Important is a loose term. The 2 franchises that I make most content about and therefore I make my livelihood from are Harry Potter and Lost. And they're the 2 franchises that I am most familiar with, that I know the most about. It's probably why I'm able to make so much content about them, because I can offer some sort of insight or value enjoyable sort of analysis of them. I'm really loving the Dune movies from Denis Villeneuve, and I'd love to read the books, but they intimidate me a little bit. The Hunger Games, love the Hunger Games. But in terms of more important, like this franchise, Harry Potter has given me so much. It's given me my dream job doing this, making this content. When I go to places like Universal Studios and I'm in the Harry Potter land, like nothing gives me that feeling. So it's hard to say if there's anything more important. Erin says, are you into any other fantasy franchises like Middle-earth? Oh my god, I love Lord of the Rings. Again, seen the movies time and time again, intimidated by the book. I have started it about 30 times, never made it to the end. But the movies and the soundtracks, oh my god, the soundtrack to Lord of the Rings. When I was at university, that is the soundtrack I listened to while I was revising, and it pretty much got me through it. I mentioned the Brandon Sanderson books that I'd read, the Reckoners series. The reason I read those, and they're so good, but the reason I read them was because I wanted to read more of Brandon Sanderson's fantasy books. Mistborn and the Stormlight Archive, but again, they seem intimidating, so I wanted to loosely introduce myself to his way of writing before embarking upon reading such massive books. Okay, Cybertoastic asks, if you could only have one thing from a fantasy universe, what would you choose? I'd take the TARDIS. It feels overpowered, but the fact that I could go to any place in time. I certainly wouldn't want to be in as many life or death situations as the Doctor is in, but I think I would take the TARDIS. That is a great question though. Let's open it up to the floor. Let me know in the comments what you would pick. One thing from any fantasy universe is such an open question. Tom Purcell asks, what is your favorite Friends season or storyline? Early Chandler and Monica is his. Great question. I love Friends so much. One of my favorite arcs is when Joey moves out from when he's sharing an apartment with Chandler, and then Eddie moves in. I think Crazy Eddie is one of my favorite characters. He's so funny. I think season 3 and 4 are my two favorite seasons. Season 4 in particular because I had never watched Friends before until the final episode aired on TV, and I sat and I watched it live with my family, and I remember finding it so funny. The left phalange from Phoebe cracked me up. So when I had enough money, I went to the shop and I bought the box set of DVDs for season 4 because it was the only one they had. And basically, until I could afford the next one, I just watched that over and over and over and over again. Season 4 is a great season. Okay, F. Gonzalva asks, what is your favorite episode of Lost and why? My favorite episode of Lost is the greatest episode of TV ever made. It's The Constant. It's the Desmond episode, The Constant. Honestly, the Desmond episodes are incredible every time. You do not get a bad Desmond episode. But that one in particular, The Constant, impeccable. Like the greatest episode of TV ever made. Okay, Oscar asks, what's your favorite Twilight book, movie, and character? Also, are you Team Edward or Team Jacob? Okay, I know it was really popular for a while to like hate on the Twilight films, but I kind of think they're beautiful. They are like gorgeous movies. I think there is something a little bit toxic about some of the plot. My favorite one, it's between Twilight and Eclipse, I think. Like Eclipse is fantastic. The Breaking Dawn movie, is it part 2 where they have that huge battle sequence and then it turns out it was all a vision and none of it has any consequences? That infuriated me. It felt like saying, oh, and then they woke up and it was all a dream. In fact, it's exactly like that. It's such a cop-out. But I've only read the first one. I haven't read the rest of the series, so I can't really comment on the books. I would say I'm Team Edward. Like, I think Edward is kind of toxic, and it's a bit weird to think of the fact that he's like hundreds of years old and he's in love with a 17-year-old. But Bella picks Edward. She says she wants Edward, and Jacob still doesn't really take that as an answer, if I'm remembering it rightly. I haven't watched them for a long time. You gotta respect her boundaries, my guy. And by respect her boundaries, I don't mean imprint on her child. Okay, Parry G1 asks, top 5 scenes from the books left out of the Harry Potter films that you want to see in the TV show. That is a great question. One that I feel like would take me days and days of research if I were making a video on it, and now I have to think off the top of my head. The Voldemort backstory scenes from the Half-Blood Prince, Dumbledore coming to pick Harry up from Privet Drive in the Half-Blood Prince, the Weasleys coming to collect Harry from Privet Drive in the Goblet of Fire. I know they didn't leave it out of the movies, but I want to see a way more book-accurate version of the battle in the Ministry of Magic. God, there are so many great dialogue moments as well. The Don't Call Me Sir, Professor, the Have a Biscuit Potter. I want all of those scenes. And I'd like to see the Death Day party. I'm gonna have to sit down and properly think about this and then make an actual video on it. Gabriel says, would you like to see an animated Harry Potter series? And if so, in which animation style would you like to see it? Oh my god, I would love this. If you watch a bunch of my videos about the TV show, I tell you I would much rather have seen either an original story or an animated version of the story. Live action movies to live action TV show this close together, not my first or even top 10 choice of what to do. So yes to an animated show, I would love that. As for animation style, I'm not like an expert in animation. I love the Spider-Verse style animation, so I'm gonna say that one. Chazal asks, if the Harry Potter books were written from a different character's perspective, who are the top 3 characters you'd want to read from? It's a great question, because there are characters that I love, but I'm like, would all 7 years be interesting from their perspective? Like in the later books, I would love a story from Dumbledore's perspective, to see everything that we had no idea about that was going on behind the scenes. scenes, assembling the Order of the Phoenix, how he got all of his leads for like where the Horcruxes were, just more from his perspective to see his brilliance. I think Draco would be a good one because I feel like a lot of his agency is taken from him by his parents and the choices they sort of force him into, all the way through to them taking Voldemort into their house and Voldemort basically saying, I'll kill your whole family if you don't become a Death Eater and kill Dumbledore. I'd like to see that pipeline from Draco's perspective. And I'd love to see how like Harry Potter goes from like his biggest nemesis in the earlier books to like not even being a big deal to him by the Half-Blood Prince and the Deathly Hallows because his actual issues are life or death for his family. So again, like top 3 characters is hard to say because I don't think the whole series would be consistently good from any one character's perspective. Like you could do Ron or Hermione, I suppose. But the climax of the Chamber of Secrets would be rubbish from Hermione's perspective because she's petrified. And the climax of the Prisoner of Azkaban would be rubbish from Ron's perspective because he has a broken leg and can't come with them. Okay, Jenna asks, if I were given the chance to cameo in the new Harry Potter series, where would I like that cameo to be? Honestly, I think the only character I could portray half well would be
Peter Pettigrew, Wormtail. Sorry, Master.
Oh, I've proper strained my neck doing that. Oh, Jesus Christ. You see what I'm willing to go through for my art, for my craft? HBO cast me. But honestly, if I was just given a cameo and I could just be a portrait in the halls of Hogwarts or a Death Eater in the background of the Battle of Hogwarts, if I could be like Florian Fortescue or one of the shopkeepers in Diagon Alley, I'd take anything. Okay, Philip says you can cast one actor to any role in Harry Potter. Who do you choose and why? I'm actually really proud of my answer for this because I think I've got a really good one. I would love it if James Acaster played Peeves. I think he's fun, I think he's whimsical, I think you could believe he was just a troublemaker for the sake of it. He really commands that chaotic energy. I low-key think this is the perfect casting. Okay, Isaac asks, how and when were you introduced to Harry Potter? This is such a boring answer, considering Harry Potter has become such a key part of my life. I was in school, and it was the book we had to read for class. There's actually a little bit of trauma around this. We were reading The Iron Giant first, and the main character from The Iron Giant is called Hogarth. So then when we changed from The Iron Giant to Harry Potter, I pronounced Hogwarts as Hogwarts, and the whole class laughed at me. It was one of those things where the teachers would point at you and you'd have to read out loud to the class. So I pronounced it Hogwarts to the whole class, they all laughed. But now it's become my job. So who's laughing now? Danny asked me what inspired me to start making content and why did I decide it would be Harry Potter? That's a great question. I have been making content for more than half of my life. Like when I was a teenager, I would just make YouTube videos about nothing in particular and they're all gone now. Don't go looking for them. At least I hope they are all gone now. But I would just make videos about like whatever would interest a kid when they're in high school. You know, funny little anecdotes and, oh, I'm struggling to juggle my homework and going to the cinema and I like this girl, but she doesn't like me back. And the content wasn't good. It did reasonably well for the time. But the main thing was that I made wonderful friends from it. I met other teenagers across the world also making content, some of whom became my dearest friends. And more than a decade later, I have traveled to a different continent to go to a couple of weddings from people I met through YouTube back then. When I went to university, I stopped making content for a while, mostly because I was self-conscious and I regret it to this day. I wish I'd just kept going. But then I moved sideways into a marketing job. From marketing, I got into TikTok and trying to figure out how this new platform worked. And at that point, I had not long been renovating this house that we bought. And while I was renovating, I listened to the Harry Potter audiobooks. And so while I was testing TikTok, Harry Potter was top of the mind. And that's where it started. I made Harry Potter TikToks. They did well. So I started posting on Instagram. Then I started posting here on YouTube about Harry Potter. And the rest, as they say, is Hogwarts a history. Okay, Bruce says, who is the most overrated Harry Potter character? Oh, people are gonna hate me for this. I think it's the Weasley twins. Don't get me wrong, I really like them. But like, some people say they are their favorite characters, which is fine. Some people say one of them should have ended up with Hermione, not just either, the not dead one. Hermione shouldn't have married the dead Weasley twin. That would be a weird ceremony. I like them for comic relief, but I actually think in terms of like emotional beats, they don't offer enough to the narrative for them to be held in such high esteem. I think apart from the final moments in the final book where Fred dies, emotionally they offer about the same amount to the book as Peeves does. And I don't really hear many people saying Peeves is one of their favorite characters. I also think Remus Lupin is kind of overloved, not necessarily overrated. I think Lupin was very selfish, very self-centered. I made a video explaining exactly why I think that. The comments largely disagreed with me on that video, but if you want to make your own mind up, you can watch that video here.